Well, after a chaotic 2011, the course ahead for Julia Gillard looks every bit as bumpy this year. Global economic headwinds are intensifying just as the Prime Minister is preparing a key speech designed to breathe life into Labor's political sails by pushing the government's record on fiscal management. But while Australia's financial fundamentals are strong, the strategy risks undermining what little political capital the Prime Minister retains. In his most wide-ranging interview since leaving the Reserve Bank board last year, noted economist Warrick McKibbin spoke with our political correspondent Tom Eagleton about the year ahead.
Labor MPs have been told to expect a reversal in the party's political fortunes this year, and in a speech on Wednesday, the Prime Minister will provide the blueprint for how she's planning to wrest momentum back from Tony Abbott. Economic management will be the name of the Prime Minister's game this year, and today the Treasurer telegraphed Julia Gillard's pitch to voters.
We've had an excessive preoccupation with the downside. I think there has been a lot of the talking down of our economy, certainly from our political opponents, the Liberal Party, constantly out there misrepresenting our economic fundamentals.
Tony Abbott was putting the final touches on his first economic pitch of the year today, a speech to be delivered tomorrow called My Plan for a Stronger Economy. While it will touch on the coalition's economic agenda, in the words of one advisor, the job hasn't changed. In other words, attacking the government's economic credibility is still the opposition's main focus.
We don't make up these figures. We don't make up this commentary. It's the facts. And sometimes if you ignore the facts, then your decision-making ends up being off target. And that's what the government is guilty of.
Such political fights, argue some, are having a real-world economic impact.
Confidence in Australia has fallen more, consumer confidence, than most other countries, including those in potential crisis. So we have a problem there of a political nature that I think is having an economic impact.
That may be just the beginning. Former Reserve Bank board member Warrick McKibbin says a shock to the economy from the European debt crisis is now more likely than not.
So there's quite a series of small decisions made over a number of years, which when the crunch comes will add up to some big consequences for the economy. And I think we'll learn a lesson out of this experience that we have to be very careful that these minor policy mistakes don't end up in major macroeconomic problems.
One such mistake, as he sees it, was Kevin Rudd's stimulus package in response to the last foreign debt crisis. Warrick McKibbin says it was too big.
So to offset that, they had to promise that they would run a budget surplus no matter what. That's not a sign of reliability, that's a sign of not understanding the basic economics of fiscal policy. It will be clear pretty soon that we're going to have to jettison that promise, and that promise shouldn't even be in the political discussions anyway. It's a nonsensical policy.
Professor McKibbin supports carbon pricing, but says the carbon tax has been set too high and has been poorly designed.
So they need to have a different mechanism in place as of July, otherwise we're going to get a significant shock to the Australian economy at a time that we're having a significant shock in the world economy.
That's at odds with Treasury forecasts, which predict only a minor impact on prices. But whoever's right, the next election could hinge on the opposition's ability to link the carbon tax to poor economic news and the government's success in highlighting economic bright spots.
And I don't see either side of politics really setting out those clear basic economic principles that people can relate to and understanding how the government or opposition parties might respond to a crisis or any policy question.
This week's speeches from both leaders are another opportunity. Tom Eagleton, Late Line.